Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tom here. Today we'll be talking about my 2020 MLB predictions for the season. So for my predictions, I'll be covering the winners of each division, the World Series matchup, and the MVPs of each league, and then the Cy Young of each league. All of these are just my predictions, and some of them are pretty far out there, so don't flame me, don't go too hard on me. And then at the end of the season, we'll be able to revisit this video and see if my predictions were right or not. Please like and subscribe for more of this content. So let's hop into it. For the division winners, we'll start off with the AL East. I predict the Yankees are going to win this, and possibly the Rays could sneak in there depending on how the Yankees do and if the Rays play good, but as of right now, I have the Yankees. For the AL Central, I don't think it's a competition at all. I think it'll be the Minnesota Twins winning it this year. For the AL West, I have the Astros still being the champs out west. The A's could have a shot at the Astros this year, but I still believe even with the loss of Cole and some of their relievers, they'll still be able to produce enough offense and basically out-hit everyone in the league. For the NL East, it was kind of a toss-up, but I'm going to choose the Mets this year. The loss of Anthony Rendon is going to hurt the Nationals quite a bit. And then also for the Braves, their loss of Josh Donaldson, and then possibly Freddie Freeman, because he has the coronavirus, will impact them. So I could see the Mets jumping up to win the NL East with a strong performance by back-to-back Cy Young winner Jacob deGrom and some of their bats in their lineup. Another toss-up, the NL Central. The Cardinals won it last year. Brewers were in second place, but this year I believe the Reds will make the jump to the top of the division. I'll explain why they could make it to the top of the division, because they might be making the World Series as well. For the NL West, I still have the Dodgers running away with it pretty easily, but the Diamondbacks could be a sneaky wild card team if they play like they did last year and improve a little bit more. So next, I got my predictions for the World Series. The easy pick would obviously be the Dodgers versus Yankees in the World Series, but I got to make it a little interesting, so I picked a few other teams that have a shot at making it. And also, I believe that the Dodgers or the Yankees, if not both of them, will choke and not make the World Series. So this is why I picked a few other teams as well. The team that I have possibly making the World Series is the Tampa Bay Rays. They're led by a strong pitching rotation that includes Charlie Morton and Blake Snell. And if their bats get hot, I believe they'll be a pretty tough team to beat. As seen from the postseason last year, they went toe-to-toe with the Astros last year, so I believe they got a great shot if they make the playoffs. Another AL team that I think could make it are the Minnesota Twins, because they basically got power bats 1 through 9, and their core hitters include Josh Donaldson, who was acquired this offseason from the Braves, Nelson Cruz and Max Kepler, and then a plethora of other great bats throughout the lineup. Also, their pitching staff is pretty solid. They got Jose Barrios as their number one guy, and then along with him, got some pretty good veteran guys that surround him and make a pretty solid rotation, along with their pretty good bullpen that will help them win games throughout the season. I hinted at it earlier when I was talking about the Reds winning their division, and this is my biggest sleeper pick, because they have great bats throughout the lineup that include Joey Votto, Eugenio Suarez, and then this offseason addition, Nick Castellanos. And speaking of Nick Castellanos, last year when I went on a little trip, I went to Wrigley and was able to see Nick Castellanos' game where he hit the 2 home runs and then slammed the bat down. That was a really cool experience, and just going to Wrigley, that was a great atmosphere in general. So I highly recommend it if you're ever able to get out there. Enough talking about Wrigley, I'll get back to talking about the Reds. They also have a great starting rotation with Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray, and Trevor Bauer, along with a pretty decent bullpen. I think the starting rotation could carry them throughout a playoff series and hopefully for them make a World Series push. Next, I'll hop into the players that I think will win the MVP this year. For the American League, I have Mike Trout. That's no surprise. In 2019, he hit 291 with 45 home runs, 104 RBIs. He had the highest on-base percentage in the MLB with a 438 on-base percentage. He led the AL with a 645 slugging percentage and a 1083 OPS, which is pretty ridiculous. He was last year's MVP, and when he's been healthy, he's never been outside the top 2 in MVP voting throughout his career. So I can't bet against the man, but I do have another sleeper pick if he gets hurt or sits out or whatever the reason may be. And that man is the bringer of rain, Josh Donaldson. I believe he could have another MVP caliber year after making a huge comeback with the Braves last year. In 2019 with the Braves, he hit 259 with 37 home runs and 94 RBIs. He had a on-base percentage of 379, slugging percentage of 521 for OPS of 900 exactly. I think if you plug him into one of the best lineups with the Minnesota Twins, he'll have more opportunities to drive in runs like he did his MVP year in 2015, where he drove in 123 runs and hit 41 home runs. So that's my reason why he could be a MVP caliber guy this year. Alright, if you guys made it this far into the video, I just gotta let you know real quick that I'm a complete bot. Going through editing this, I realized I didn't have my NL MVP part, so yeah, gotta re-record it. So if something looks off, oh well, what are you gonna do about it? Anyways, my pick for the NL MVP is let's turn around, show you guys who it is. Yeah, I wish. Keston, if you're watching this, you're a G of a player. When I went to watch you, you hit a absolute nuke. Anyways, my actual pick for the NL MVP will be Juan Soto. A lot of people are saying Cody Bellinger is a front runner, and some underdog or someone that could win it is Ronald Acuna Jr. as well. That's what a lot of people are saying, but I wanted to switch it up a bit. So I chose Juan Soto. In 2019, he hit 282 with 34 home runs and 110 RBIs. He had a 401 on-base percentage, a 548 slugging percentage, which comes to an OPS of 949. The Nationals' offense this year will be led by him since Anthony Rendon went to the Angels. And so far, when the Nationals needed him the most, like in the World Series last year, he stepped up. And in that World Series last year, he hit 333 with 3 home runs. My only concern is that Juan Soto has not showed up to the summer camp yet. So if he isn't ready by this season, this would be kind of awkward for me choosing him as the MVP if he ends up not even playing the season. My other pick to win the National League MVP is Christian Yelich. He would have won it last year if it wasn't for an injury later in the season. So if he picks off where he left off, I think he has a great shot at winning the MVP this year as well. In 2019, he led the National League with a batting average of .329. He hit 44 home runs and drove in 97 runs. He had a National League high on-base percentage of .429, and then an MLB leading .671 slugging percentage and 1100 OPS, which is just mind-boggling. So basically, almost half the time he gets on base, and that is just quite ridiculous in my opinion. I think, like Soto, if the Brewers want to have success at the plate and make a good run this season, the offense will run through Christian Yelich like it has in years in the past. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised if he stepped up and had another MVP caliber season. For the Cy Young winners in the American League, I got Garrett Cole, who I think last year would have ran away with it very easily if it wasn't for the great season by Justin Verlander and his teammate last year. In 2019, he went 20-5 with a 2.5 ERA in 212 innings pitched with a MLB high 326 strikeouts. which is also ridiculous. His go-to is the fastball slider combo. His four-seam averages about 97 miles per hour and has a very high spin rate, along with his hard slider, which averages right around 89 miles per hour, and that's just some filthy stuff right there. If you can throw 89 at the JUCO level, that's all the coaches want you, but now you're telling me that this guy throws an 89 mile per hour slider that drops off the face of the earth. No wonder he secured the bag last offseason and is the front runner for the AL Cy Young. For the National League Cy Young, it could be Jacob deGrom, the third year in a row. Only two other pitchers have done this in MLB history, which is Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux. But I believe the NL Cy Young will be Jack Flaherty from the St. Louis Cardinals. In the 2019 season, he went 11-8 with a 2.75 ERA and 196 innings pitched with 231 strikeouts. It was his very dominant second half performance that basically led him to fourth in the Cy Young voting, and why I think if he keeps up what he did in the second half of the season will be the Cy Young winner this year. In the second half, he went 7-2 with a .91 ERA while only giving up 5 home runs. His go-to pitches are his fastball slider combo like Garrett Cole. I believe if Jack Flaherty can pick up where he left off in the 2019 season and has a sub-1 ERA for the 2020 season, I can't see why he wouldn't be the NL Cy Young. Those are all my predictions for this year's MLB season. Like I said earlier, these are just all my predictions. I could be right, I could be way off. It could be the Mariners versus the Marlins in the World Series. Honestly, who knows? But once the season is over, it'll be nice to kind of reflect on this video and maybe even react to it and see how far off I was or what I got right. But that's all I have to say about my predictions for this year's season. Let me know in the comments who you guys think will win the World Series, and thank you for watching the video. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Swag.